Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Ever asked an AI something and thought, that's okay, but not quite it. Maybe a bit generic, or just missed the mark somehow. A lot of us have played around with these tools, right? And sometimes you think, well, maybe the AI just isn't smart enough for what I need. But what we're diving into today suggests something else might be going on. Often it's less about the AI's limits and more about, well, how we're asking. So we're going to get right to the heart of unlocking the real power inside those large language models, the LLMs. And the key, it's the skill called prompt engineering. It really boils down to how we as humans can get better at talking to AI.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating, I think, is seeing how the quality of what you put in directly changes what you get out. It's not always just about having the biggest, most powerful AI. Sometimes it's really about the craft of the question itself.
Yeah.
Think of it like telling a top chef, make food, you'll get something. But if you say, hey, can you create a seasonal vegetarian starter, focus on citrus, maybe some fresh herbs,
Yeah.
then you're guiding them towards something amazing, right? The AI is kind of like that chef.
That's a great analogy. It really highlights how much influence we still have. Even with super smart AI, our input can be the bottleneck.
Yeah.
Or the booster rocket. So, okay, our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear then. We want to understand what prompts actually are, what this prompt engineering thing really involves, and crucially, why getting good at it helps us get, better, more useful, maybe even surprising answers from AI.
Right. Let's start at square one, the basic building block. What exactly is a prompt? Well, fundamentally, it's how you communicate with the AI. It's the instruction, or maybe the question, that kicks things off. It tells the model what you're looking for.
Just the instruction, like write a poem.
It can be that simple, yeah. But a really effective prompt is often more than just a basic command. Think of it as the blueprint for the interaction. It doesn't just say what info you want, but maybe how you want it. The tone, like should it be formal, casual, or the format, maybe bullet points, a table, or even asking it to adopt a certain persona or style. It's about clearly stating your intent.
Okay, that makes sense. It's the detailed instruction set. So if that's the prompt, then what about prompt engineering? Is that just writing a really good instruction, like one perfect sentence?
Not quite. It's more involved than that. Prompt engineering is really the whole process. It's about designing, creating, and this is really key, refining those prompts. It's active, it's iterative. It's not a one and done thing.
Iterative, meaning you try and then tweak it.
Exactly. That's the engineering part. It usually involves a few steps. First, you got to really understand what you need. What's the actual goal here? Then you design the prompt itself, make it clear, effective. Maybe you use specific techniques like telling the AI act as Lenny to set a role, or you might give it a few examples of the output you want. That's called few-shot prompting. It really helps guide the AI. And then, crucially, you test it. See what the AI gives back. Is it good? Is it close? And then you tweak the prompt based on that feedback. It's a cycle, like refining anything, really. You iterate.
Right, trial and error, but guided trial and error. That few-shot thing sounds useful, like showing, not just telling.
Okay, so if prompt engineering is crafting the instructions, what about the engine itself? These large language models, I mean, they've changed so much, haven't they?
Yeah.
Our sources point out that as the training data got bigger and bigger, their performance, their abilities just, well, they skyrocketed. Oh, absolutely. The scale increase has been massive, and it's definitely driven huge leaps in capability. But here's where it gets really interesting, and it ties right back to prompts. It turns out it's not just the sheer volume of data that's responsible for those performance jumps. What's emerging as equally, maybe surprisingly important is the quality of the prompt.
Really? So the instruction matters almost as much as the giant brain it's instructing.
In many ways, yes. The quality of the input you give the model directly shapes the quality of the output. It's like having an incredibly powerful tool. A Formula One car, maybe? You can have the best car on the grid, but if the driver doesn't know the track or how to handle the car, well, you're not winning the race. The prompt is how you drive the AI.
Wow, okay, that changes things. It's not just about finding the smartest AI, but about becoming a smarter user. So for you listening, the takeaway here is pretty direct, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you carefully craft your prompts, if you engineer them well, you can get much better, much more detailed, much more interesting results from these models. Your skill in asking becomes a huge factor, which leads us neatly into this idea of applied prompt engineering. Sounds like taking this out of the lab and into the real world.
Precisely. Applied prompt engineering is just that. Taking these ideas, these techniques, these skills, and actually using them for practical everyday tasks. This isn't just theory. It's about getting stuff done, whether you're trying to, brainstorm marketing slogans or summarize a really dense scientific paper, or even just draft a tricky email.
Can you give an example, like instead of a basic prompt?
Sure. So instead of just asking the AI, summarize this long report, applied prompt engineering might look like. Summarize this report for an executive audience. Focus on the top 3 strategic implications of potential risks. Keep it under 200 words, use bullet points, and adopt a formal but decisive tone. See the difference. You're giving it much clearer guardrails, much more context. That's when the AI becomes a truly powerful assistant, an extension to what you're trying to achieve. The output quality just jumps.
That makes perfect sense. Much more targeted. So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for someone learning about AI, trying to use these tools more effectively?
I think the main takeaway is, well, the journey to getting really good results with LLMs isn't solely about the AI getting smarter on its own. It's also, very significantly, about us getting smarter in how we interact with it. Your ability to craft a really good prompt, that's becoming a kind of superpower. It unlocks potential that a lazy or generic prompt just leaves untapped.
Yeah, absolutely. Understanding this stuff, prompt engineering, it lets you get so much more out of AI tools. You become more efficient, you get better quality results. It's really about becoming a better communicator just with a machine this time. And that feels like a skill that's only going to get more important.
Definitely. And it leaves us with a pretty interesting thought to chew on, doesn't it? If the quality of our questions, our prompts, really dictates the quality of the AI's answers, what does that really imply for the future? For how humans and AI will collaborate? How could mastering this skill, this art of asking, actually reshape how we tackle problems? In science, business, art, pretty much everywhere. Something to think about.